Aloha and welcome back to Davis Dental Practice Management Series, Part 2, Goal Setting. I have a saying, set goals, measure progress, achieve results. Goal setting is very important. If you don't set goals, then you're just sort of plugging along. And there's nothing wrong with that. But if you're frustrated where you are and you continue to just plug along, then you may want to consider setting some goals for yourself, for the practice, for the now coming year. So let's talk about goal setting. First, most importantly, the goals need to be very motivating to you. The goals need to wake you up in the morning. You need to have excitement, motivated, relevant. It needs to be something that every fiber in your body wants to achieve. If it's not, then you may not follow through and get to where you need to get to achieve the goals that you've set for yourself. So first, it needs to be very motivating goals. And if they're not, then you need to ask yourself why you're setting these goals if they're not truly motivating. Then, they need to be SMART goals. Now, what do we mean by SMART goals? SMART is an acronym. It stands for specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-bound. Let's go through those real quickly. SMART goals, specific. If your goal is to grow the practice next year, okay? First question would be, by how much? A certain percentage or by a certain value? If you said a percentage, I want to grow the practice by 10% next year, okay? That's something that can be measured. Here's where we were last year, and we want to be 10% more this year. That's something that's very easily measurable and specific. The next letter is M, measurable. So back to that 10%, we can measure that. If you just say, I want to grow the practice, well, it might be bigger than last year, but by how much? So you want your goals to be specific and measurable. A, SMART, S-M-A. A stands for attainable. Is your goal attainable? If you say you want to be the best dentist in the world, I want to be the best cosmetic dental surgeon, I want to be the best implant doctor, is that really attainable? If it is, great, go for it. If it's not, then you might want to reorganize your goals to something that is more on a level with what you can truly achieve. If you set such a high goal for yourself, and then you fail to hit that goal, it might be worse off for you. You might, beat yourself up, or you might feel like a failure for not hitting your goal. And you're not a failure, you just didn't make the goal yet. So make sure when you're goal setting that you have something attainable. 10% growth over next year, that's obtainable. Sure, I can attain that. Next is relevant, S-M-A-R-T. R stands for relevant. Is it the goal relevant to your business? So for example, if you say, by this time next year, I'd love to be the best hang glider in the world. Well, okay, that's fine, but that really doesn't have anything to do with practice management or dentistry or your business. So let's make sure your goals are relevant to what we're talking about. Finally, S-M-A-R-T, the T stands for time-bound. So for example, if you just say, I'd love to have a smoother running practice. Okay, who wouldn't, right? But still, that's a pretty vague. It's difficult to measure. It's maybe attainable, maybe not. It's relevant, but we haven't set a time bound. So if you'd like to have a smoother operating practice, what does that mean? Well, if you say you want to have no more drama in the practice, or if you'd like to have better communication, those are areas that we might be able to set some parameters on and objectify and be able to measure the progress there. But if it's a vague goal with only subjective measurements, it's going to be difficult to be able to say whether or not you hit those goals or not. So again, let's go back to the goals need to be very motivating for you. If they're not, chances are your enthusiasm won't be high enough to maintain the discipline that you're going to need to follow an action plan to obtain those goals. And they need to be SMART goals. Specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-bound. So next time you're goal setting, ask yourself, am I motivated by these goals? And more importantly, are they SMART? Thank you for your time. Please leave your post your comments, your questions, and I'll be happy to respond to you as soon as I can. Have a good day. Happy drilling. Aloha.